Hello everyone, in this video I'm gonna show you how you can interactively fetch data using Next.js fetch functionality. Now as you see, this will be our home screen. As you see, there is lots of data is coming through from this API, which is coming up from the JSON server.reactpt.com. As you see here, we have the phones, phone cases, accessories and watches. All the data is available here with valid ID, title, price and other details. Now when we fetch the data, as you see, this data is available here. Now you can actually see data entirely scrolling through every single details. If you click any of that, you can view the more info regarding that particular products. Like if you, and also this products is coming with a valid ID. Now also if we just go back to the phone case, you see the phone case is available. If you go back to the watches, there is the watches data, and accessories, the accessories data is available. Now this all the data is gonna render through just a single component, which gonna be, we can name as a product or some other name. That components will be responsible to generate all of those products in all of those pages. So we'll create a single component, then we're gonna fetch that products from there. So stay tuned with me because we're gonna create this from the scratch. And now to just start with me in this entire build, as you see, I have already created just the layout. As you see, if we go back to the phone case, because the page, it will not be available there right now because I didn't create that. So actually what we can do first, we can create a 404 page, which gonna become with that not found.tsx and rafce. That will be that not found page. Oops, it will be page. And to create the Next.js application is very simple. As you know, there is a tons of video in my channel where you can learn actually how to create the Next.js application from the scratch. So I'm just not gonna go with that. If you have still trouble with that, just run that command in your terminal and px create next app at latest, then just create it. Then I will just having giving you idea what's having actually in this application. A pretty much simple based application. I have one, if you just look back to the components, one header in where I am keeping all the routes and names, and also I have one footer. So other things is pretty much simple. So now for the not found page, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just keep a p tag, your page is not found, and now also give a button back to home. Just a simple alignment need to be there. The class name padding y, it will be 10, and flex column, justify center, item center. Okay, yeah, that looks good. So what I'm gonna do, give a class name for the button. Okay, just give a border bottom of 1 pixel. Okay, okay, looks good. And empty too. And instead of the button, we can also wrap it through the link, and that link gonna take us to the home route. If we click, as you see, we're now in the home page. So now what we need to do, we need to fetch the product. And to fetch the product, remember previously what we used to do, we are using the use effects hook to fetch the product from any of the outside sources and using the Axios with that. But now, as the Next.js application is totally server-side rendering, we cannot use that use effect hook here, because it will make all of our application first pre-dependencies as the client side. You need to use that use client hook. So that what we're gonna do, instead of doing that, we're gonna create that Next.js fetch method, and you're gonna implement it. We are just going to implement it right now. And you see, it's very simple and very easy. And to do that, there is a documentation over here. You can feel free to just go and read a bit of that. It will be, I think, data fetch. Yeah, data fetching, caching, everything. As you see, that much code actually required to fetch the data. So I will just go with the way I prefer it better. So now to just get the data, we'll just get the function which the name will be get data or get product, whatever you feel better to give a name. And that one will be that assign function, of course, because we're gonna talk to any of the API base or on the database. So the response maybe it can become in delay, so we need to let the JavaScript to wait until the response it received, otherwise it will just ping and come back. So now I will declare the function, and inside the function I'll take a variable and that gonna pass as a response. And the response, remember we used that async, it should be await. And now we're gonna use that fetch from the built-in fetch method from that Next.js. And now from here, what actually we are looking, this phone data, so we copy that. Okay, and now for right now what I actually want, or okay, we'll keep it caching, so just to show you why we will just make it no caching later on. Now if this response is not okay, response is not okay, then it gonna give us an error, or we're gonna throw a new error. So new, I believe it will be error, yes, and that will be failed to fetch data. And now if the data is available, then what it gonna return, it gonna just return response.json. That's it. So now that get data functionality is responsible to get the data from that API. And now as you see, this is my home function, this is my home route, like the home route and the home page. So here I can get the data. So now how we can get, we can just make that const products equal to, we need to make it await because still we are talking to the API or database. So get data, remember I keep it await here, so of course you need to be make it as async, otherwise it will not work. So now if we just make a log and just go through the products, let's see. And now you can see, because by default all the pages and components, all dependencies is server-side rendering for Next.js. That's why this console is coming in my server. It will not gonna be visible here in my client side. It will not come here right now, but we will make it in the client side, but not in the page, but in the components. So this is the data is available right now. So what we can do, we can now produce the data to show the like in the page. And to implement that one, I'm gonna take a component which will be products.tsx. Now I'm using the TypeScript. You can use any kind of format, just follow through it. You can use the JSX, JS, or simple, or MDX, whatever that you prefer. So now in the pages, instead of rolling this bit, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just call that products. And now inside I'm gonna take a variable of products and I'm gonna pass that products. Let's remove that console. Okay, so now we will be able to fetch the data here, as you see. So if we just take the data, just destructure and put the log, pass the products, and as you see, still we can see the data in our server side, because by default, again I'm saying by default all the components, pages and everything in Next.js is the server side rendering. If you want to make anything as a client side, you just need to put that use client flag. That's it, it will just make it as a client side. Now as you see, we can now see the data in our client side, that means in our console. As you see, the data is available with ID, title, price, all the data, whatever is actually available here, that's the one we can see it here right now. So let's go. It's time to work with that, and because it's very simple to make it in a very figurable way. First of all, I'm gonna remove the console and I'm gonna just declare the type for a bit so I can get the advance of TypeScript. So it will be a product props. Okay, and now this products has an ID, title and other things, so let's just define that. This product has an ID which has a number, title is string, description also string, image is string, price number, and previous price also is a number, and is new is the boolean value, true or false. Category is string, brand it also is string. So now after driving that interface, we need to give another interface which will be just simply as props, and now that interface gonna be as the products, and now we are just gonna be just driven through that with that array of that products props. So if we pass that as the props, I believe the error is gone. So now we need to define that array value where actually we can show the products and other properties. So that's the that's the place where we are actually mapping through the items, and we're gonna similarly generate this one. Okay, let's do it then. So now here what we actually do in that will be our top level of the div, and after that div we're gonna make that products.map and just take a variable of item. Then we're gonna return a link, because we are going to generate everything inside that link. And in the link also we're gonna generate also that rough tag, which we are okay for right now. We'll just put that in the home route, so later on we're gonna modify. And also we need to pass the key value, which will be item.id. that's the key value we are going to generate. And now after that we're gonna take a div, and inside that div I'm gonna take an image tag, and that image tag also is coming up from that Next.js image tag, as you see, and that link is coming from that next link. So now in the image tag I need to define a source, and that source it will be item.image, and also we need to declare the width, which will be 500, and height we're gonna give also the 500, alt text image. Now as soon as I did that, you're gonna find the error, new error here. As you see, if you pop up the error, now this host name we need to provide, because where I hosted the images, that's the one I need to highlight. So you need to go to the next config, and now here inside that next config object we need to pass that image. It will be images, and inside that images it will take a parameter of objects. Then we're gonna pass the domains, which gonna be an array of domains. Now save it, and of course after saving, whenever you are changing anything in the next.config.js, you need to restart your server, otherwise it will give an error. So now I'm gonna pass that pnpm run dev. I'm just using pnpm, that's why pnpm run dev. You can use whatever the things you like, npm or yarn, that's just whatever suit for you. So I believe it's gonna work. Okay, it's work. So let's, as you see, the product is available. So now what I'm gonna do, also I'm gonna put some class name on that, which gonna be, it will take a full weight, and it gonna take a height of 80, and object, not the center, it will be not origin, actually it will be, I believe, object cover. Yes, that's the one. As you see, that's pretty much cleanish with that, because in the top level, on the top layer, we need to make a little bit work on that. Now here I'm gonna give a max width of screen in Excel, and mx it will be auto. I'm gonna make it grid, and grid calls of, for default it will be 1, and then whenever it will hit an empty screen it will be grid calls of 2, and for the Excel it will be grid calls of 4. Okay, and now give a gap of 10, and padding in Y it will be 10. Okay, as soon as I did that, I believe the changes it will reflect. Okay, it's not reflecting, means we did something wrong. So let's see where we did the wrong thing. Okay, MD grid. Okay, grid calls 1, 2, I think it's supposed to work. Yeah, I think we maybe okay, maybe made some mistake with the class names. Okay, now as you see, we are giving a 4 columns of gray for the smaller screen. As you see, if it's also coming through a handy responsive whenever you just toggling through. Just if you put that a contain with that, it will be pretty much more responsive in the lower screen, as you see. But for right now, I will just keep it as cover. And now after having that, also after the image, I'm gonna take another div. Now take a div because I'm gonna keep all the text here, and the first text, it will be item dot title, and the second one, it will be just giving the price. Item dot price, just put a $sign in the beforehand, just show the price. So now what we're gonna do, we are going to just modify in the top layer, give a class name of that, or before giving that here, I think also we need to give in the top layer of that. So the class name, I'm gonna keep a border and it will be 1 pixel and border gray 300. Oops, it will be gray 300, and also rounded MD. Okay, as you see, that border is available. And also we need to make that overflow hidden, otherwise the image, it will take a more deeper place. And whenever we hover, it will be border gray 950, duration 300. Okay, now looks good. So once we click, then we're gonna render it to that any of the single screen later on. So now let's work through here in this div. I'm gonna give a padding in x-axis, it will be 4, and padding bottom, I'm gonna give it 2, and also just make a text of a small text flex. I'm gonna make it in a flex column and gap in 1, so that it gonna, okay, that looks little bit okay. So now for the p tag, let's just give a class name, it will be a text gray of 600, and for the price tag, so now you can go through the designing portion as the way you more preferable for you, but for me, I'm just gonna keep it as simple because that's not my fundamental goal to show you how you can design, but to show you how you can fetch, because I'm gonna reuse that component. That's why I'm just creating it from the scratch, so that you will understand also how to create that. So first button, it will be add to cart, and the second button, it will be called more info. Okay, so that's the 2 button is available, and for this 2 button, I'm gonna just make flex item center justify between, as you see. Okay, so now first one, I'm just keep it as simple as it is, and the second one, I'm gonna make it uppercase, and text, it will be extra small, and font, it will be a semi bold, and hover text blue of 700, and duration 200. Okay, looks good. Okay, so now this pretty much all for to go with that. So now if we click, then it will take us, as you see, if we click on that particularly, it will take us to that any of the products on that segment. That's the one we're gonna create from the scratch. You just any of the product, it's gonna replace the product with that current data. Because if you come over here, as you see, because in our previous video we create that one with a dynamic route, how we can actually fetch the data dynamically. So now we can also create that one to actually fetch that data in real time to show in that particular level. So let's to implement that. And first of all, to implement that one, instead of going to the routes, we need to go somewhere where actually we can get the data. And instead of that direct route, we will just give a path name, and that path name, it will be single, oops, it will be small letter, single product. And then also whenever it's going to the single product, we're gonna pass a query, and inside that query we're gonna pass one value. Oops, it will be okay, we're gonna pass one value which gonna be id, and that id, it will be item.id. that's the id we are going to pass with that single product. Now if we click, of course it will take us to 404 page, because we are not having any of that single product page. As you see, my components is inside app. I am just going to remove it to take it inside that source directory. I believe it's just happened through mistake. Not okay, let me fix it. Okay, solve is the update, yes. Okay, we're good to go. So now what we need to do, actually in the app, we will create another folder to create our actual route, and that folder name, it will be that single product. That's it. So to create a route is very simple in Next.js. You just need to create the folder, and inside that folder, what we need to do, we need to create that page.tsx. It will be single product. So now here we can actually go through and fetch that particular things. Remember, we are already send one beautiful item to us. Of course we are gonna use our server side one. So now here actually we can get the search from params. Remember, we are passing one value, not from here but from that products. Here we are passing a query ID, so that ID we need to catch, and through that ID we will actually go and fetch the data from our particular API. Okay, and first of all we need to get that search params which we passed already. So it will be search params. Okay, so just make that log, and you're gonna see that search params value. Okay, as you see, search params it's coming over here in the bottom. As you see, that's the params is giving id, and if we just make it that with dot id, you can just view that one-on-one id is coming. If we just roll back to another phone and click here, as you see, id is changed 104. So in that way we can actually get the id. And I will just define a little bit types for that search params, which can be key as a string or undefined, any of that real value, to just to go out with that error from that TypeScript. So now we can actually get that, like the get product value from that particular id. So now we can actually write everything here, but we're gonna write 2 or 3 conditions. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go with the best practice actually to follow through. And to do that, I'm gonna take a folder which will be called the helpers folder, and here I'm gonna take another file which will be index.ts. Now here we are gonna return all the simple things which we need to know, get to generate. First of all, we need that product, right? So I'm just gonna copy that and I'm gonna move it here. You can also get it from there if you just export from the get data, and then you can actually use that in there. So it depends on you. And now here I'm gonna export one function from here, and export const, it will be single product, and of course it will be a async function. And here it gonna take a parameter which is the id, and which will be the number value. Okay, so now we're gonna pass the item, and that item, it will be await that get data. Remember, we need to we need to fetch that single product from that particular endpoint, so we need to pass that value as the item from there. And now the single item, that single item, it will be await, and then item dot find, we will find through that, and I'm gonna just go out with that any error. Okay, and that will be the product dot id, which will be the id we are going to pass, and then it's gonna return us that single item. So this will be responsible to give us the single product item, single product value. And just to remember, we are going to actually accept a parameter where actually we're gonna give an id, and that id we're gonna map through all available phone data, which I think pretty much we are having 20 phone data. So you're gonna map through it, then from that data it will return us the single data. So let's go to our pages, because here first of all let's modify our things in a bit. So now just make that const id string, because what we are receiving with the search from the id actually is not an actual number, because our id is number, so it's actually a string. So if we just make that const id string, if search params dot id, okay, so now if we just make that log, you can see the id string 1004 is showing that number, but it's, as you see, it's a string value. Like if we go to the type of id string, as you see, it's a string value, so we need to make it as a number. How we can make it number? So you just make that const id equal to, we will just quoting it with a number variable, which will be number, and we're gonna number it that id string. So now if instead of id string, if I put the type of id, as you see, it's getting the number. So now we are having that number value. So now just simple const product equal to, of course we need to await, and we need to pass that single product, and here we're gonna pass that id. And of course, as we make it await, we need to make that parent as async. So now it will be responsible to give us that product value. So now if we just make that log, and you can see the product value is available at the bottom. So now we are having 104 data. If we go back and take another phone and add, okay, okay, that's available. 105 is coming. It's just taking a bit of time, that's it. So now we are having that product data. So now we can actually showcase the product value here. So how we can show that here, I'm gonna first take that image, and that image we need to import from that next image, import image from next image, and that image gonna be the source. It will be product dot, oops, it will be product dot image. Alt tag it will be image, and width it will be 8, I believe the 500 for the ratio, and height also 500. Okay, so now our image is available, as you see. Now after that, I'm gonna take another div, and inside the div I'm gonna take a p tag, and the first one it's gonna take that product dot title. Okay, the title, as you see the title at the bottom. So what I'm gonna do, give a class name max width screen axle, max auto, and flex item center I'm gonna make, and also give a gap of 10, and axle gap will be 0. Okay, so now this is the ratio is coming. Now you can make the design the way you want. I'm just gonna keep it as simple. As you see, the picture is changed. So now for the p tag, give a class name, it will be text is axle, and font it will be semi-bold, just to look it better. Okay, so now here I'm gonna type for more text, which just gonna render that product description, product price, product category, and then it's new. If it's new is available, then it will be the new item. As you see, that is the data we are generating. So now give a class name which gonna be flex, and flex in column and gap of 2. Okay, so now this is the simple method to generate. As you see, we are fetching all the details for that simple of the single item, and it's generating through the API, not from any other method. So it will be really helpful whenever you are going to create application in your production label, because that's the simple method is using in every single breaches. So it can be very helpful whenever you are implementing that. So now as you see, we have that our product, we have the single product and other things. So now let's create another product which will be let's just go in a folder. We're gonna make that phone case, and it's also the simple way. It will be page.tsx rafce, and here it will be phone case products. So now I think the first we have one title here, get your favorite phone. We need to create the title, and to implement the title is very simple. Let's go back to our page. The title, it will be here. First we're gonna create a title component .tsx. Okay, now here we are going to generate that title. So that title, what it gonna be, it gonna take just parameter a title, and that title it gonna be a string, of course. So I'm gonna define the type, and it will be title, which is string, and it gonna go through as the props value. So instead of that div, I'm gonna give a p tag, and instead of title, I'm gonna render that title. So now here this title will be responsible to generate that unique title. Also give a class name. The text, it will be center, and margin top it will be 10. Font, it will be a semi bold, and text Excel, I'm gonna make it underline, and underline offset of 4. And decoration, it gonna be 1 pixel. Okay, so now we can call it wherever we want. So first we're gonna call it here, and that call it gonna take as title. Okay, and the variable it will take as the title, and it will be get your favorite phone. Okay, as you see, that is available. So now we're gonna generate our phone case data also. So they're pretty much similar over here. As you see, I'm just gonna copy that get data. I told you, you can actually, instead of getting that, you can write the get data other elsewhere to make it is in a dynamic way. It depends on you. I'm just gonna show you how you can do that. So now instead of getting the data from the phone, we need to get the data from the phone case endpoint. So let's copy that. I think it's the same, just the name is the different, nothing else. So that's the phone, and also we need to get that simple arrangement here. So okay, and we're gonna make it as async. That's it. So now we will be able to get the data. Remember, we are also gonna pass this to value. So I'm gonna just copy that from here, and instead of this div, I'm gonna paste it. Instead of this phone case, I'm gonna pass this to. So I'm gonna import the title, I'm gonna import that products. Okay, so instead of this one, I believe it will be okay. Instead of this text, this will not be there. It will be make your phone looks cool with beautiful phone case. So let's go back. Oh, it's already here. As you see, the phone is available, the phone case is available. So now this phone case, because this data is generating from separate API endpoint, so that's why whenever you click in every single data value, you need to regenerate the link to create the single products. That's why I'm just showing it here. Now you can create any of the thing where actually you can get the data value. It will not come because I didn't create for that. It's only coming for the phone one particular endpoint. You can create as much as the endpoint in all the data stick together, then you can create in particular way, because normally in a production level application all the products is coming from a single endpoint. That's why it's very easy in that way. Okay, so this is for the phone case, and now let's create another one, and that one it will be watches, or okay, I'll give it name of watches. Okay, so now here again the page.tsx rafce, it will be watches. Now remember, it's the similar method, just I'm gonna copy these. I'm not gonna do anything more. Okay, I'm just gonna copy that, and I'm gonna just copy this portion. Okay, so I will just make that as async, and I'm gonna take the title, I'm gonna take the products, and this title, of course it will be short for this one. Okay, that's it. If we go back to my watches, as you see, watches data is not available because we didn't change that one, so it will be watch. As you see, watches data is available, and the price and description, everything is depends on the watches data we are providing. Okay, one more last, it will be for the accessories. And that will be accessories. So the similar pattern will follow here. I'm just gonna copy. Okay, so it will be async. It's very simple to capture data in that way. I'm gonna just fetch it from the accessories portion. If you go back to accessories, as you see, the data is available. So that's the very unique way you can fetch the data using Next.js server-side rendering. And by the way, this data actually saved in your as your caching data. So now it depends on you. Either you want to keep it as caching data, or if you don't want to keep caching data, like you can actually say that I don't want to save it in the caching data, or also you can revalidate the data the way you want. So revalidate or either way you can keep it in that similar fashion. I think nowadays revalidate is actually not only just revalidate, you need to just make it with revalidate path. And now here actually you need to define and declare how you want to see the path, which path you want to define, or whatever is that. For this application I'll just keep it as simple as it is, just to go with that default value. So now what you have actually from that single from that separate API, as you see with the simple phone data, you can having the phone and all the phone details is available. In particular way you can get that single phone and others. We have the phone case, and you can have the phone case data, you have the watches data, accessories data also available, and all the data is rendering through that one single component, which is product. So it's very simple. I think it really helps you to fetch data in your Next.js application. We'll see you in next video.